Word I'm saying because the mic is switched off. There we go. Golden tones. It's cold outside. Well, it's not really cold, but it's relatively cold. The chief of staff came in shivering this morning. Oh, he said, look at the icicles on the end of my fingers. Those are the exact words. What he did was he gave a tot of rum all around to all the staff that were here. And since that was only me, a wonderful start to a Wednesday morning. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. What we do get up to at the Black Horse. It's got to be the best television studio in the world. It really has. It's a laugh a minute. Great people. A bar that's open 24 hours a day if we wanted it to be. And nobody to challenge us. Mirador television. Nobody knows exactly what's going to happen on any given day because we only have a very, very broad structure. We're not so tied to a schedule as most television stations are that we can't switch in the middle of something. In fact, those of you who watch us regularly will know that we do that. But it does leave us speechless sometimes because we've got nobody to talk to. This morning, we're going to have Philip around about 8:30 when he gets back from delivering his good lady wife to work. We're going to take a look at the news headlines in a moment, the newspaper headlines. And then we've got Stuart along at 10 o'clock, and we're going to dissect the election locally. Who are these people, and what are they going to do for us? And is the structure right? Should we have these people parachuted in by the political parties? Or should we really listen to what a local candidate is going to do for us? And don't say, oh, well, the candidate for Westminster is irrelevant to Lewis because we had Norman Baker for 3 terms. He was a Lib Dem, but he stood everything on its ear because he was what is known as a very, very good constituency MP. He spent as much time here as he did in Westminster. He asked questions in the House that were pertinent to local issues. And if you went to see him, he always had time to listen. And 9 times out of 10, he would get action. Now, that's a hard act to follow, and nobody has followed it so far. Let's hope that out of the 6 people that have thrown their hats into the ring, we've got somebody who will take that approach. We've invited them onto Mirador. We will ask them those sort of questions. It'd be interesting to see what their answers are. I'm worn out from ranting about the NHS, but I would reiterate reiterate, because people only half hear what you say and then misinterpret. I am not against, critical of the administrative side of the NHS. The doctors and nurses could not be better. And the thing is that we all do get confused. Look at me, I'm old enough to get confused all the time. But yesterday I received a call from a lady who handles the occupational therapy, and they had some rails installed in my apartment. And she said, I just wanted to make sure that everything was to your satisfaction. I said, yeah, that's great. But I started to tell her about the minders. And she said, oh, unfortunately, that is not our department. That's to do with social care, which comes under the local council. Well, the county council. That says it all. That says it all. Those people who are practical, who are looking after us as far as health is concerned, are terrific, efficient, helpful, kind, considerate, you name it. I can't find an epithet that doesn't fit. Those people that are pen pushers are pen pushers. Right. Are you dying? Yes. Well, here's a pen so that you can fill in the appropriate form and let us know. And if we can do anything about it, we will. But do you understand that to die is costly, and you may have to contribute to your own death? That sort of sensitivity should have gone out with Charles Dickens. It is still there in force. And the administrators love it. They just love it because it fits into the mindset that they have amongst themselves and in their application of their services to the general public. Huh. Huh. No wonder I've been ranting. And the thing is that I try to keep my phone close by, because if I have to rant from lying on the floor where my Parkinson's has deposited me, which it regularly does, I can do so. You can't keep a good man down. And you can't keep a bad man down either. And I am as bad as they come. I yell and scream at absolutely everything. Well, I don't yell and scream at Deck. He is the finest chief of staff you could ever wish to meet. Not only does he make sure that I'm well fed with coffee and biscuits and things in the morning, but he makes sure that everything is working. When he's not here, I'm totally and utterly lost. He doesn't know it yet, but I'm going to interfere with his schedule so that he's here at 6 o'clock in the morning and can't go home until midnight. Oh, I'm going to lose a friend there. Right, okay, let's get on with the serious business, because Rishi is going to give us 17 billion, and his backbenchers, his right-wing people, I don't think it's enough. But no, let's before we go, let's the chief of staff has pointed out a story to me this morning in the Times. Alcohol limit for England. England's opening Euro 2024 fixture against Serbia is the only match at the tournament where just low alcohol beer will be on offer amid fears over fan trouble. Organisers regard Sunday's Group C encounter as a high-risk fixture that requires extra safety measures, with the German police concerned by the potential threat posed by hundreds of Serbian football hooligans they believe will attend the match in Gelsenkirchen. I hope I've got that pronounced properly. Gelsenkirchen. UEFA confirmed that the match was the one game at the Euros where beer with an alcohol level of only 2.8% would be available, with fans also limited to buying only 2 drinks at a time when they visit concession stands at the Arena auf Schalke. I was struggling to. I spent some time in Serbia. I was struggling to try and remember where the stadium was, but I'm pretty sure it's Partizan Belgrade is the main stadium there, and it is a fine complex. And first of all, I stayed in the little apartment complex that they have for visiting referees and so on, and international matches. And it is very nice. It's well attended. It's got its own butler. And that's where I picked up a taste for a wine which is not generally available. And that is Veronats. If you get a chance to have a glass of Veronats, have it. It is a nectar from the gods. It's a wonderful, wonderful wine. And that's where I actually got the taste for it. Because we ordered a bottle of wine, and the steward said, "Have you tried Veronats?" And we said, "Well, no, we haven't. Can I recommend it?" Well, if somebody recommends something like that, is 9 times out of 10, I'll take it. And I did. And it was wonderful. And it was attached to Partizan Belgrade. But also in Partizan Belgrade was a little television studio, very, very small, very compact, and one of the best thought out studios that I've ever come across for small scale anywhere in the world. It was incredible and had been thought out very carefully and built into the football stadium. So if my memory is serving me correctly, I know a little bit about where we're going to limit. No, I'm sorry. We limit alcohol. It's the Serbian game. It is not being played in Serbia, I think, necessarily. It's just the fans from Serbia that the German police are worried about. There we are. A kick-off for the Euros is alcohol limited for the England match, and that's the only match that we're going to have. Now, I don't think that they were picking on the Serbs somehow. I think that it's the reputation that our own fans have got, but unjustly so, because it appears that we have a very, very good reputation for visiting fans. Yeah, we've got a few hotheads that get us into trouble, but generally speaking, we are not bad at keeping the law and behaving ourselves when we're overseas. The front page of the Times is the Prime Minister says a vote for reform puts Labour into number 10. I don't think we should be persuaded by that argument. Tactical voting gets us into dreadful, dreadful trouble. Vote for the person that you think will do the best job, who persuades you that they'll do the best job. And leave the tactics to the politicians. Leave the tactics to the politicians. The other story on the there are 2 stories on the front page of the Times that catch my eye. Health MOTs will aim to keep older patients out of hospital. Older patients arriving at A&E will be offered health MOTs to check for conditions including dementia, diabetes, and heart disease. Well, I have to say that on Saturday, I was taken in with a couple of sharp pains. And the sort of health MOT that I've been trying to get from my doctor's surgery for almost a year, I got within a couple of hours. And this was at Haywards Heath Hospital. And I keep on waxing lyrical about the doctor, Justin, don't know his last name, never did get it, and Ash, who's rather cute, but who was equally as a professional and excellent at her job. Now, those are the sort of people that we need in charge of looking after older people, older patients. The thing that I go, is, of course, older patients for an MOT it doesn't depend upon the doctors and nurses, not in the initial phase. It depends upon the administrators, and they're the people that can't deliver anything. It says hospitals have been told to set up new services at their front door to screen any frail over 65s for chronic illnesses under a plan to prevent thousands of admissions and free up beds. Yeah, it's another good idea, but it's only as good as the people that will implement it. And I have no faith in the people that will implement it. The people who will actually action it, I do have faith in. I do have admiration for. They are fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And the new ambulance crews and the new emergency operation thingamajig that they've got going, they are fantastic as well. Absolutely fantastic. They were great conversationalists. I went in just 2 separate ambulances on Saturday, and both of them, both sets of crews, chatted away. It made me feel quite assured. I could have been dying for all I knew, but they made me feel quite assured and quite comfortable and quite relaxed. So if we could get health MOTs to keep patients out of hospital, older patients out of hospital, I would be all for it. But it's got to work. And at this particular stage, it's not. So let's take a look at the administrative side of things before we take a look at implementing something like this. The third story is Hunter Biden, guilty of buying a gun illegally. Mind you, it's deeper than that. It has to do with drugs and all sorts of things. But this is the son of the United States president who went and bought some drugs, and what he thought was him being without blame, and was nicked and has been found guilty without blame. Right. Let's get cracking on the front pages, shall we? Before I fall asleep. These people say, well, do you bore yourself, Keith? Well, I do bore myself, although I don't get bored by the people around me. On the contrary, they are sparkling and always full of vim and vigor. It's just that quite often I wake up at about 3:30. I pick up my iPad and I go through some of the headlines then, and some of the other things that I have to do during the day. And before I know it, it's 4:30, and I think, I'll go back to sleep for an hour. I don't. I fret. I thrash And so I get up. So by the time that I'm talking to you at 8:30 in the morning, is it 8:20 in the morning? I've been going for about 4.5 hours, and that does wear me out just a little bit. So if I nod, it's not because I'm bored, not because I'm not excited about what I do. I am excited about what I do. In fact, I get so excited I upset my colleagues because whereas I think there are 8 days in the week for television, they sometimes think, God, we've done our day. What's he hounding us for? I'm sorry, but I'm not going to change. Oh, come on, let's go to the. Here's the weather, first of all. Only 15 degrees today, and that's not very warm. Light rain showers and a gentle breeze. When are the rain showers going to start? Well, we've got some clouding over between now and 11 o'clock. At 1 o'clock, we can expect some rain and some pretty dark clouds. And that will go on and off until 3 o'clock. And then the evening will not be too bad, not be too bad at all. In fact, from 5 o'clock on, we're not expecting any rain. So, now let's see what the newspapers are saying. Oh, come on. Stop your nonsense. The Daily Telegraph. Sunak promises £17 billion in tax cuts. When he unveiled his manifesto yesterday, Sunak said he's going to shrink the national insurance bill and help first-time home buyers. Many front pages feature stories on Prime Minister Rishi Sunak's promising, £17 billion in tax cuts. The Daily Telegraph reports that among the planned giveaways are the abolition of national insurance for around 4 million self-employed workers and a 2p cut in for fuel. 2p cut in Northern national insurance for employees. Everybody is going to benefit, but as you can imagine, not good enough for the Tory right. Now, be careful because it has been body language and voice tone have been interpreted in the past. And if I sound as if I'm being derogatory in saying the Tory right, I'm not at all. Because as our good friend and contributor Harry Atherton says from Normandy, actually most of Europe is moving to the right. And whereas a newspaper like the Financial Times called it the extreme right yesterday, as he says, it's not extreme at all. It is right wing and proper conservative values. Nothing to do with the Conservative Parliamentary Party. And that we shouldn't be flinching at the word right wing any more than we should flinch at left wing. Yes, there are extremes on both sides, but they are extremes and extreme extremes. The right is a perfectly respectable position to be in. The FT. Sunak's £17 billion tax cuts promise fails to satisfy the Tory appetite for boldness. Well, there you are, you see, you can't please everybody all the time. Sunak has not marked his leadership with being particularly bold, and so we have to see it in that sort of terms. And I would agree with the Tory right. It is not bold. Doesn't matter whether I approve or not. I'm not making any political comment, yay or nay. But bold is not a word that I would apply to what he's done. And so the Tory right, those people who are disaffected by the way that the Tory Conservative Parliamentary Party have gone, are going to be quite disappointed by this move. So you can bet that in the halls of Westminster, in the secret committee rooms, a lot of jabbering is going on at the moment about what do we do about this. Mr. Sunak's promise has been attacked by some on the Tory right for being too timid. The paper has spoken to a former cabinet minister who said the Prime Minister had failed to protect the Conservatives against being attacked from the right by Nigel Farage's reform. Nigel is in the mix now. It's been too easy simply to say, oh, Starmer and his acolytes, bound to do that. That's left-wing claptrap. Now they're going to have to satisfy Nigel Farage and the Reform Party, which is enjoying a resurgence since Nigel walked back in through the front door. The Times, I've just been through with its MOT for elderly patients at hospital. A vote for reform puts Labour into number 10, says Rishi, and what was the other one? Oh yes, Biden's son being found guilty. But there is a banner, and I just love this. Why you're never too old for a bikini. Never too old for a bikini. Am I too old for a bikini? Oh, probably. I don't even own one. In fact, I don't own a swimming suit anymore. It's not that I wouldn't swim if I got to a swimming pool. It's getting to the bloody swimming pool is the problem. Those sort of journeys are really a bit difficult for me. The chief is pacing up and down because we haven't had our beer delivery yet, and it's getting on. It's 8:30 and no beer. Oh, they're in trouble when they arrive. Oh, our day goes on a strict schedule. And if the chief has cleared the lines ready for the fresh beer, it had better be here, and it's not. Dear. Oh, the trauma of a day. Okay. The Daily Mail. Rishi, don't give Labour a blank check. The Prime Minister warns Keir will change the rules to hold power for a long time. Well, there's a thought. Once Starmer is in, he'll pull what I think of as the what was the Ceausescu, Romania. The Romanians are famous for changing their constitution. We don't have a written constitution. It doesn't make it any easier to change it, but it does make it easier to influence it, I would have thought. So, yes, we must watch to see what's going on. But anyway, the Mail is warning Mr. Sunak not to hand Mr. Starmer a blank check if Labour wins the general election. The paper says the manifesto, that's the Conservative manifesto, creates clear blue water between the Tories and their opponents, with the Prime Minister telling voters only his party has the big ideas to make our country a better place to live. The Guardian, here we go. Tories' implausible 17 billion tax giveaway condemned. One would expect that from The Guardian. So we have to take that with a certain a grain of salt. Right. The Guardian story feature quotes from two think tanks, the Centrist Institute for Fiscal Studies and the left-wing Resolution Foundation, who both expressed skepticism it could be paid for through cuts to government budgets and welfare alone. No, if you're looking at cutting government budgets, you're in real trouble. The Mirror, Sunak's idea of hardship. I must say that they put their foot in it, don't they? Even I was amused by this. Rishi, I didn't have a dish. The PM says he had no Sky TV as a kid, so he knows what it's like to struggle. Mr. Sunak has claimed he knows what real sacrifice is by declaring he had no Sky TV as a child. The Daily Mirror's lead story says the paper reports the Prime Minister made the clueless gripe during an ITV interview to be broadcast on Wednesday, which Mr. Sunak controversially left the 80th anniversary of D-Day early in order to attend. Now, the silly thing is that it is all relative, because John Henty, who is older even than I, and myself, on a Thursday, often discuss the issues of what it was like years ago. Well, I'll tell you, it wasn't until 1953 or 54 that any sort of TV came into the shires. And I was born in 39, so do your mathematics. I didn't feel deprived as a kid. Boy, we had some terrific radio programs. And I had an old aunt who actually had a radio which was fired by a car battery. She would get it recharged once a week. She had two batteries, so she could replace. And that got the big old machine going. And we listened to things like Paul Temple. Coronation Express, I think it was. Yeah, Coronation Express. And Itmar and Dick Barton, Special Agent. Oh, wonderful things. And I did not feel deprived one little bit that I didn't have any sort of television, let alone a dish. Come on, Mr. Sunak. You can say, well, it's comparing bananas with pears. Yes, it is to some extent. But what a silly thing to say. What a silly thing to say. I didn't have ice cream either for the longest time. Can you imagine? A world without ice cream. Ooh, the Daily Express. Tory ambition to deport 100,000 illegal migrants. The Daily Express reports that Mr. Sunak has also promised to slash legal immigration in half and deport as many as 100,000 illegal immigrants. The paper says he vowed deportation fights to Rwanda will begin within days of a Tory win. Whee! Well, he's been pledging that since the turn of the year. The Eye. Labour promises £12 an hour to care workers. I don't know. Throwing money at it is not the answer. I have my own. Care is actually it's rubbish. Its big virtue is that if you're going to be found dead, that you won't be left for days. And they are nice young people in the care industry in the main. Can we make you something to eat? Oh, yes. Oh, we're only allowed to put things into the microwave. We can't actually cook you anything. Can we make you a cup of coffee? Oh, we can't go and get you milk. Oh, no. Can we help you up? Oh, yeah, but where are we going to help you up to? First of all, their service is limited. Secondly, the amount of money that they want for this service is outrageous. And secondly, or thirdly, the government, through the local councils, demand to be paid at an inflated rate and without telling you in the first instance. It is awful. Awful, awful, awful. Right. The Eye says the party the Eye reports the party is set to promise a minimum £12 an hour to care workers in England to improve recruitment in social care and ease burden on the NHS. Ha 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 ha. They need to take a look at the NHS, and the NHS ain't going to let them because they're entrenched and they're making plenty of money, thank you. Wonderful doctors and nurses. I keep on saying that, and I'll say it till the cows come home. Wonderful doctors, wonderful nurses, wonderful support staff, in the main, wonderful ambulance drivers. All very, very good. But the administration is lousy. Absolutely lousy. And if you're going to throw money at it, throw money at the administrators by getting rid of them and starting all over again. The Metro. Pop pedos £500,000 to victim. Disgraced paedophile pop star Gary Glitter. The Metro leads with the news that convicted paedophile Gary Glitter has been ordered by the High Court to pay £508,800 to one of his victims. The successful civil case against the 79-year-old former pop star, real name Paul Gadd, means he may be forced to give up his fortune and Regent Street penthouse. Oops. The Daily Star. Wednesday is the new day we start partying. The weekend starts now. Oh, I think the Chief of Staff should be aware of this. You aware of this, Deck? The weekend starts now. Well, apparently we're bringing it one day forward. Now I can have my first drink of the weekend today. That's set him back. That's kept him quiet.
Well, I'm taking beer lines at the moment, so you're lucky.
There you go. He's getting the beer lines clear. But at least they'll be clear for when I demand my first drink at lunchtime today. Perhaps thinking about a pub trip all of their own to watch the Euros next week. The Daily Star is running a story on Wild Wednesday, turning it into a first day of the weekend. The paper says many young people are working from home on Thursday and Friday, which means they hit the town earlier than their older colleagues. Hey. Oh, dear, dear, dear. Well, bless the Star. It brings us the good news. Can you see the thirst in my eyes? Oh, the desire for that sip of ale through my lips at lunchtime today. Ooh. See how animated I become? From a dozy character who was just talking about politics. Suddenly we start to talk about booze. Oh, there he is, you see. See, he's active, dashing backwards and forwards, and making sure that the beer lines are clear, and getting agitated because we still haven't seen the delivery, have we, Deck? No. The beer has not been delivered. Here we've got an official start the week early and no beer. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. Well. It's 8:42. It is 8:42. Hey. I'm just. Is there anything else that we should bring to your attention? Well, now this is something personal. I follow Aston Villa because my family had something to do with their start when they were a boys' club in the 1800s. And it seems that the other bias that we have is because of Philip Meredith, who's a dyed-in-the-wool City fan. That's no, isn't that interesting? That's a Manchester City fan. And it would appear that Villa, Manchester City have threatened to sue the Premier League over anti-competition rules. And Aston Villa are considering legal action of their own. I've got to start to take this seriously. I do believe that these rules were brought in to try and level things up. But I do believe also that most of it is to do with how much money can I put in my pocket. Oh, yeah. Martin Samuel says the sky won't fall in even if City win their court case. Rory McIlroy is coming back. We're going to get some posters up. Now, I've got to get this right. Mr. Chief, when is our next quiz?
It's on the 21st of next month, not the 14th. The 14th is the final of the Euros.
All right, the 14th of July is the final of the Euros, and we can't have a quiz on the night of the final of the Euros. The pub just wouldn't hold all the people. So it's going to be on the 21st?
21st, yeah.
21st.
Hopefully Southgate and his boys will get through to the final. But,
Now, I have to tell you that this pub is decorated with flags. They're coming out of our ears. I'm not going to tell you what it reminds me of. More posters have got up. Watch England, says the poster. You've got a good sports background here, haven't you, Dick?
Yeah.
Yeah. He runs a good sporting pub without it actually overpowering. You can come in here just as an ordinary drinker and still be quite comfortable. But there we are. Watch England, Sunday, June the 16th versus Serbia at 8 o'clock. Thursday, June the 20th versus Denmark at 5 o'clock. And Tuesday, June the 25th versus Slovenia at 8 o'clock. There is the poster. Watch England. And if you're going to watch them at the Black Horse. Well worthwhile coming to the Black Horse. It is a very, very, very well-run pub. A very comfortable pub, and it is a pub. It has no pretensions to being a very posh restaurant. The food is good. It's got a very good kitchen, but it is a pub, and it is the place to watch football. It's a place to come for the quiz. And apart from which, it's got a world champion toad master as the boss. Oh, God. The things that happen at the Black Horse are astonishing. You just wouldn't believe it. You simply would not believe it. Right you are. Where do we go from here? I am very tempted to play something that we played the other day. Or did we play it? Because we didn't play anything yesterday. Let's just play this, shall we? Because we've got 2 or 3 minutes. It says croquet, but it means cricket. The history of cricket in Sussex. And many say it's the history of cricket itself. Certainly, the first recorded match in Sussex was played in 1611, and in 1677 the first women's cricket match was played. Sussex County Cricket Club is the oldest professional sports club in the world, formed in 1839, although in the early days players had problems because they must play on a Sunday and were fined for not attending Mass. 1697 saw the first newspaper report, and in 1725 the Earl of Richmond challenged Sir William Gage of Firle, a little village just outside Lewes, to a stake of 50 guineas. The game became famous when author A.G. MacDonald wrote in his book England, Their England about a mythical cricket match that took place between a group of journalists from London called the Invalids and a local Kent cricket club. But in fact, that match really took place, and the Invalids still play it at Rodnell, a small village south of Lewes, each year to this day, almost 100 years after the first match was played. The cricket match made the game famous. And in 1884, Sheffield Park was the venue for a match against the Australian touring side, carried to the game by the famous Bluebell Railway, which ran through Lord Sheffield's grounds. The game flourished and went from strength to strength, and still in Sussex has a strong base of local cricket teams supporting the county team, Sussex County Cricket Club. So, the history of cricket in Sussex. Yes, the history of cricket in Sussex. The history of cricket itself. There we go. We're going to take a 5-minute break now, and then we'll be back. I think with Philip Meredith, if he's back from taking his wife to work. Very solicitous is Philip. Very good family man. Fantastic children. Talk about talented. Wow. We've had one on. We probably try and get the others on eventually, because they are interesting in the extreme. Interesting. All right. This is Mirador Television, all the way from the Black Horse in Lewes. Toodle pip for a moment.